Hi, all. Good evening.
How's it going?
Hey, how are you guys?
It's going great. I'm excited to jump into this conversation this evening. So today we are joined by Jonathan Lei, CEO and founder of WithQ. WithQ is a VC-backed hospitality tech startup building AI to eliminate manual work and redefine the guest experience. So really excited to get into this conversation and pick Jonathan's brain about growing in a fast-moving market and about product differentiation. So, welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
Yeah.
excited.
Well, let's get right into it. We always start these conversations by learning a little bit about your origin story. So, tell us a little bit about that. What sort of inspired your journey to found with Q?
Yeah, definitely. So, background wise, I grew up in China. I came to the US when I was 16, did a degree in really economics and engineering at Berkeley. Throughout the years when I was growing up and really exploring, what I want to be when I grow up, right? There's a couple ideas that I thought about. It's like really creating new things. I did a couple startups beforehand in college. One of them is, AR, VR for museums, and really helping a lot of experiential providers or artists in general, and now like hotels in general, and also build a kind of a crypto startup for help musicians like self publish their songs and events in general, and kind of went from there. A lot of attempts in terms of starting my own business, and I worked at Ripple for a couple of years in San Francisco and built out their first NFT marketplace there with thousands of users, and also built their entire developer growth and accelerator program. And yeah, so started with Q 2 years ago. And when we first started, we were actually doing voice for pizza and Domino's Pizza. So we're at around like 50 stores and hundreds of thousands of calls, and really realized that the space isn't as attractive as the hotel and hospitality space, where I'm really passionate about helping the end user and also helping people that are creating experience to create better, more personalized experiences. So we kind of got into hotels, and my co-founders have really good experiences in terms of working with Marriott's and Hilton in the past. My co-founder Juan Carlos, we met around 3 years ago. He sold to 6,000 Marriott's and Disney resorts for geofencing, basically third-party data collection and marketing in general. So, and my other co-founder, Alex, he worked at Ripple with me, was working on the infrastructure side. There's three of us, works really well. And yeah, that's kind of the beginning story of the company. We started a pilot in Puerto Rico around a year ago, and it's been seeing great results for us in terms of ROI for our clients, and also just in general. Yeah.
So you definitely have an entrepreneurial bug of sorts. And I love the sort of early involvement with Domino's. I think that across a number of industries, when people think about great customer experience, they think about the Domino's pizza tracker. I mean, even in our industry, when you think about like, candidate experience and knowing where you stand or where you're at in a particular experience or funnel, it was just such a powerful introduction to the industry and the world at large. And so I can imagine that if you're taking some of that magic and applying it to with Q, that it's going to be and likely already is an incredible product for your customers.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised with the number of people calling into Domino's tracking their order. Actually, we're seeing a lot of those calls, seeing where the drivers are. There's always like exceptions to where your order is, where there's a lot of human elements into even pizza delivery, and now within travel, there's so much different factors, right? And
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, no, it's in travel experiences, people are looking to be delighted, and I have to admit, I feel pretty delighted when I see like Brandon has put your pizza into the oven. It's like I feel like I'm really in touch with the experience. But one thing I want to start and pick your brain a little bit with kind of a just a bold question here. I think the market is certainly crowded with
Yeah.
AI solutions and products in every corner right now. So talk to us a little bit about that in terms of, competing in a crowded market. What is that demanding of you and your founder team in terms of leadership as you look to scale your company and product?
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is crowded in every single industry, right? Everyone's trying to find different use cases for all around the world, whether it's software or services. And what we're really looking into the competitor landscape is that how do we serve our customers the best and get the best public information and also case studies out there, and really let our product speak for ourselves, right? A lot of our customers are coming from organic customer acquisition in terms of referrals, people that are really happy with us, making a great ROI and guest experiences in general. So how we really want to stand out is first, the economic numbers for our hotels. Second is basically the personalizations for our guests in general in terms of customizing their trip, upselling some of the packages that are more appropriate for their occasion. And yeah, I mean, it's unavoidable to have so many competitors, and it's a good sign actually. That validates that you have a good idea, and really execution wise, in terms of leadership and how we move as a small team. Right, we have four people and one more engineer. Other my co-founders. It's really important to be very efficient in terms of using AI tools and also using just AI and also just our wits end to get to more customers with a small team.
Mhm. Yeah. We know a thing or two about that of just a really scrappy team, and you have to be, I think, really ruthless about the decisions that you make in terms of where you spend your time, your energy, where you invest. So tell us a little bit about that. When we talked before, you talked about sort of guiding your decisions as a founder team with, clear insights and good data. Tell us a little bit more about that. How do you make decisions really strategically to move fast with a small team?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think startups is all about like running small experiments, right? Like tiny experiments that it's more cost effective, also timing effective in terms of, hey, product changes. Like for example, like which voice people like, right? We have hundreds of like realistic voices, but for each hotel, it's different what customers react to it, right? We listen to every single call in the beginning and see the customers' sentiments in general. So that's like some of our like really small product tweaks in terms of even changing the prompts or one of the workflows in the middle of it, like how to ask guest questions or stuff like that. So that's on the product side. On the go to market side, we do small experiments with marketing, referral, people, outreach in general, but none of them are really that costly or takes months to do. And for us, like moving fast and making lots of mistakes and finding out a different a decision is correct or not, it's important for us. So.
Yeah. It sounds like you've built sort of a culture of experimentation, and hopefully that's scalable over time as your team grows. I think from our conversations anyway with other founders, that seems to be a common thread with those who are growing fast and finding a lot of success. Um,
Yeah, I think you're seeing other founding teams, right? Like right now, like the startup AI startup world, people are trying to build like 10 billion, a 10-person billion-dollar startups, one person, right? It's really about like using AI effectively and having the right harness, and then people know how to direct them and how to make those experiments to go from there. And for example, like I think we're hosting an event in June at a conference. Actually, my co-founder just used AI to automatically generate a Luma event, and like he didn't really do anything. Kind of give it a description, and there's like picture that was generated, all of
yeah.
that, and we're getting a lot of signups already. So it's just like a very small thing that you're trying out, right? Every single day, we're trying out AI tools that can help us, increase our efficiency without like really sacrificing the quality there.
Mhm. Yeah, it's incredible. Sometimes that sort of thing can just work, and it sounds like that's a great example of one that did. Do you have any examples of an experiment, an AI experiment that hasn't worked, or something that you've tried that you would say, "Don't try that"?
Yeah. I mean, I think in the beginning we tried a lot of like automation tools in some in terms of like QA and I guess like listening to customer calls and like testing in general, right? What
Mhm.
we're finding is that in the beginning, the coding tools and AI models isn't good enough and needs a lot of hand holding. And for us to use a lot of those like Claude and OpenAI models and to really trust it step by step, there were a lot of hiccups in general in
Mhm.
terms of, hey, like does this how's the analysis of this call? Did it go right? How was the customer sentiment? We used the scoring framework before, and it just wasn't good. It says it's 5 out of 5, and then we realize it's like a 3.5 or like two out
Mhm.
of five, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you really have to define what the objectives are, and so they can actually do a great work. So that's where they're saying like 90%, which I don't think is true. 90% of all enterprise AI pilots are not as effective. I think it's like multiple reasons of like, hey, you need to really trust AI and also have a harness in terms of them hallucinating, right? A lot of those pilots are very high impact and they're low like tolerance of error in general. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that those models have evolved just week over week, it seems, in the last 6 to 12 months. I can imagine, earlier on that it would have been a rockier road than, it is today. Um, I want to dig into something you said, and you've talked a couple of times about this, Jonathan, of learning your customer really fast. And there are a couple ways I think to learn your customer, and I think that some people have the benefit, for example, of being in the customer's shoes at one point or working in the industry for 10, 20 years. You don't. You have dabbled in different ventures, and you're certainly a leader and an entrepreneur, but not necessarily, a career long hospitality professional. So, how do you crack that? Like, how do you understand what your customers want and need fast?
yeah, I mean, so I don't have the experiences, but my co-founder's been selling in this space for a long time. But my personal learning wise is just talk to as many customers as you can, and a lot of times in terms of like I guess like the hotel owners and managers, right? And same thing with VC calls. It's not about whether feedback is after; it's about what kind of questions they ask, right? And when you go into the sales call, you ask them a lot of questions in terms of what their problem is, what are you facing day to day, and what do you wish that you couldn't have that it should be true. The first pilot we actually started in Puerto Rico, the entire team was there for 2 weeks, really, observing all the on-ground I guess, operations and what the guests are complaining about. So that was really important. We have weekly calls with our existing customers about, hey, what are the feedbacks? Do you have any suggestions in terms of workflow or expressions that we need to kind of incorporate into? So, we've been in this business for a while and we've gone to a lot of conferences talking to people, face to face, which is important. And Yeah, so that's why I would say like really learning fast about the industry as well.
Yeah. I think spending time with the customers is irreplaceable. It makes a lot of sense. One thing that we find in our space is that sometimes customers don't always know how to articulate what they want or need,
Yeah.
and you have to tease it out of them. And I imagine that's true everywhere. And so I have to ask you about that. Have you encountered customers that maybe don't know what great looks like? And if so, like, how do you tease that out of them for their specific niche and business?
Yeah. I mean, the first mistake we actually made was that, like, hey, like, same thing kind of, we went into kind of with the VC pitch was like, oh, 69% of hotels in the US can't fill all the open roles and like 30, 40% of calls are abandoned, right? And then a lot of them, their first reaction is like, my hotel doesn't have that problem. I'm fully staffed, right? I don't get that, right? And my operation is always perfect. And then, there is also, the insider resistance in terms of, oh, I have to get rid of my headcount. I'm now as powerful as before, right? Less management in general. So what we really go into is really understanding their pain point acutely and present our solution in a way that is easier for them to understand with concrete examples, and also in terms of pilots wise, simplify the use case, while we kind of pitch the bigger vision in terms of how we can further improve your operation efficiencies, improve like those new revenues, and also replacing some of the existing softwares you have, right? Because people in this industry has been very very dinosaur-y, where the software stack hasn't changed for the last 20 years, and there's still some Windows software that's installed on the computer for them to use, right? It's not even web based. So for us, really clearing up and honing in our sales pitch and how to go about the product positioning is it's still a learning process, right? Where we don't have it perfectly.
Yeah. We've encountered that in a number of conversations with people who play in the AI space, whether it's through consulting or through a product of some sort. In that, a lot of times you're looking at a client with, like you said, sort of dinosaur age tech stack, and messy data or non-existent data, and sometimes there's like the sort of walk before you run or build the
Yeah.
infrastructure 101 before they can even get to the modernization and the vision. Tell us a little bit about WithQ. I feel like we've been kind of dancing around all of the sides of the product, but tell us what the product actually does, and then I would love your take on when you're looking at sort of a dinosaur esque environment. Like, can WithQ just drop right in? What needs to be true in order for your software to do its thing?
Yeah, definitely. What our product does, let's answer that first question. So we build basically voice agents. Now we do SMS and web chat as well, emails, that answers every single call. How we do this is integrate with a telephone grid and intercept everything, and use very natural language like, hey, my name's blah, blah, blah. I can help you at this hotel. We can help guests book a room end to end, from checking their availabilities, what their special occasion is, anniversary, trips, birthday, or something like that. Recommend the best rate possible, both for hotels and also for the guests in terms of special needs and accommodations in general, and take payments end to end as well. We do dinner reservations at the hotel's restaurants, and also if the guest needs water, towel, or there's something broke like AC repair, we automatically create tickets for the on-ground team to really handle. So it's really all encompassing communication platform as of right now. But what our biggest vision is to actually get rid of a lot of those manual workflows that the hotel managers and operation teams are facing. Right, hotel manager in SF was telling us that, like, hey, 70% of the time I spend is in the office crunching some things like report, manually typing it, or like Excel data and stuff like that, and siloing. A lot of those data systems, like you said, either don't exist or is really old. For us, we're building on top of those integrations in terms of software. So if you look at each hotel and the industry itself, the softwares are very fragmented, and a lot of them don't talk to each other. And for us to be on the layer on top and adding all the proprietary data we collect about the guests, the preferences, and the interactions make us more effective, and really build it from like an AI ground up, AI native management layer, more than just, hey, like, this is another software you need to download, you need to use. So
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense, and sounds pretty easy, and that you sort of know what you're dealing with. You can plug into all of those things. What, to the extent you can share, what's on the roadmap for WithQ, and what are some of your big visionary hopes and goals?
yeah. First of all, it's not that easy, right? It's easy to say and articulate, but it's really hard to do in exercise. And if you think about product roadmaps, right, you have an overall north star of where you want to go, but day to day it really changes with customer interactions, what the clients want.
Yeah.
And for us, really the next step is to release a guest facing app that help the guests basically personalize their stay, what are the local recommendations, attractions, you know, according to the hotel, the nearby area, or the weather and stuff like that, and really launching that kind of ChatGPT feature for the hotel specifically, and customize things, recommend things. Right, they can either chat with it, call it, or interacted with in different ways. And that's where we're seeing that like, hey, we can get into the more guest personalization part with Forbes 5-star standard, other than just hey, interacted with people calling into a hotel. And on the on the business side, we're like automating the ticket creation process. So before that, they have some like software for creating tickets for works, right? And there's no tracking there. You don't see the completion time. You don't see a lot of those detailed metrics in terms of what the guests are calling about, intents in general. So we're building out more of that features as well to really help the management team to efficiently run their hotel. So really, yeah, that's the bigger vision to become like the AI hotel operator. We don't really want like an AI fully run hotel because we
Yeah.
realize that you know hotels and hospitality is a very people based business. You always need someone there to make you feel like, hey, like someone's tending to me. This is not just automatically a robot run hotel, right? You want a very knowledge concierge and really in person time. And that's the biggest problem when you walk into a hotel. Front desk, there's a long line, and they're answering calls sometimes where like they're not answering calls, and now your calls dropped, right? Like they
Mhm.
should be free from all those repetitive tasks and get to the things they're most passionate about, which is helping guests. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
I'm just thinking about even the guest experience. I'll be so excited when that launches, and hopefully we can stay at a property that leverages with Q at some point so we can experience it. I'm just thinking about, checking into a hotel and like you're handed all these brochures and you're like shuffling them around, or you get to the room and there's a binder with a bunch of pages in it. It's like, where do you start? So that's such a cool idea. Very, very exciting.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, we think that a lot of those there's a lot of products out there that a hotel could be using, or brochures, like digital stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
we think that the best interface is no interface at all.
Mhm.
Although I think that the app itself is an intermediary, but we're seeing this as like guests naturally interacting with it instead of like, hey, like navigating this button to get to somewhere, right? Like AI will be able to understand your questions naturally and help you in that process.
Mhm.
But yeah, it would be great that if it's implemented in every hotel or most of our hotel clients. And really, the goal here is also if you're returning guests or you're a frequent traveler to that hotel, before you even call, or we can suggest you trips, suggest the stay in general. And when you call or when you text, we know where your preferences are and just become the Jarvis of your trip, right? So
Love
that's
that.
kind of the end goal for us.
Yeah. I love that. And it's so
Oh,
true.
Amy,
And not
I don't think we can hear you.
can you hear me now?
I cannot hear you. We can cut this part out. 1 second while she troubleshoots.
No worries.
It's clicked on. It's clicked on to the microphone.
It is so strange.
And it's showing me as talking.
I can't hear it. Jonathan, you can't hear her, can you?
No, I can't hear her. No, unfortunately.
You want to go? You want to leave and come back in, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll just take the rest of the questions.
Mhm.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, super. Yeah, how are we doing so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, there's
Great.
one of the things that helps drive a lot of traffic and listens are the little reel shorts that we pull. And
Yeah,
so I think we've had two good moments so far for little reel shorts. So it's good.
amazing,
Anything that feels sort of like natural and like, where we are laughing or you have something, kind of insightful to say, those make really good ones.
amazing.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Oh my goodness,
There
that's
you
so cool.
are.
Yeah, it had my little noise thing going up and down and everything. I don't know how that happened. I knew I had to mute it because I needed to blow my nose. I'll mark this so we know where to put it back on.
Perfect.
Okay. So even something that struck me as you were talking, um, answering the phones, I think is obviously super important. There's nothing more frustrating when you're trying to book something or check on something and your call gets dropped, or can I just put you on hold, and then the hold is forever and a day. So love that. I love that you're thinking about GPTs for that concierge service too, because I don't know. I think the world is getting more um, hospitable for introverts who don't necessarily want to sit and chat with somebody to talk through like everything. So
Yeah.
having it available like in the palm of your hand on your phone is just so helpful for those quick questions that you want to ask. And I stayed in a hotel recently, and this made me realize how spoiled I've gotten. Where like to order something from room service, you had to phone them, and I was like, what? So even just having like the functionality of like ordering something, it doesn't require any AI because they're not making any decisions, but like if you have it all in your one app, I
Yeah.
think that is like game changing for guests and for the hotels, especially as you mentioned that their systems are pretty archaic and they don't really talk to each other. So I guess I'm saying all that to say, um, what has the reception been in terms of like where they should have their people focus their time,
Yeah.
because you're freeing up all this time from a headcount perspective to take care of those repetitive tasks. What do you think this means for the hospitality industry if we have people working hosting at hotels that have more time? Where should they spend it?
Yeah. I think the more concrete example I can think of, also like your point is very relevant, right? We went to Hawaii for Christmas, and it was like a Sheraton hotel, 1,000 rooms or something like that, right?
Mhm.
Line for check-in is super long. There's a concierge desk, nobody there. There's two seats there, right? And there's some kind of activity recommender, and the line's super long too. And then, when we were in room, I think I was calling to check on some of the hours, and I don't really need to do that, right? Like I don't need to talk to a human. I'm kind of an introvert in that way. I don't want to talk to anyone unless I can't find any information online, right?
Right.
So so yeah, that's really relevant in terms of, hey, like, what are those things that the hotel staff, as a computer, they don't need to answer, right? Like, hey, like pool hour, or like,
Mhm.
as the elevator goes this where, like, which tower it goes to, right? So those are the things, like, really, as a human, you should be creative, you should be helpful in a way, that's, hey, I'm a local expert for this, and based on what you want, and what kind of activities you want, we can recommend something that is special for you. Helping them in person really helps, not just over the phone, right? Like, you go in there, they can, look at you, smile, think about things in a very special way to arrange transportation or activities in general. So I think those are things that should be helpful a lot. And another part is basically dealing with issues and complaints, right? You can submit a review on TripAdvisor and whatever, right? You don't get helped because of this, that. And if the staff has more time to deal with that, like, for example, if they do complain, like, oh, a room has bug, or like, hey, I didn't get the service correct, we can give you an upgrade, give you a coupon, or resolve the issue in, like, very quick, instant way, right? Because if you think about calling a hotel, it's not a lot of people call the hotel, especially the younger people, right? Like, who's actually calling the hotel? Like, I call the hotel sometimes, but not all the time. I like book on Expedia sometimes, but even less and less. A tip for you guys is just like, sometimes you call the hotel and ask for a discount. They actually do have authorizations more than just the OTAs in general, and the hotel website in general. So that's one thing we have, that I would suggest people would go and try to do. $100 or $50 off in general.
Mhm.
And so yeah, I think those are two areas where the front desk can answer. And, like, for example, we're going online with a hotel in Chicago, actually, Kenzie Hotel,
Mhm.
and the GM's like, can you clone my voice? He was a broadcaster for a while and like really, really professional. Like, well, I want to be like the GM that you can reach 24/7 and be really hospitable, right? And we're like, that's a great
I
idea.
like
We can clone the voice you want and really serve as the brand voice. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's awesome. It's giving me some hope actually for all the doom and gloom talk that happens around AI. It gives me some hope that actually maybe the reason that customer service in general has seen a decline over the recent years in terms of the um, quality of delivery, that's probably indicative of kind of an overload of avenues for people to get information. And so they're coming at you in every single format that you can think of. And so by creating something that can quieten down some of that repetitive noise, it should make that job a little bit more pleasant, and so people will feel um more more in better spirits, let's say, to offer a better service. Because I definitely, not so much now thankfully because I just mostly travel for fun, but in my corporate days when I spent a lot of time in random hotels, there's definitely some frazzled front staff working there that just I could, they were done. I got there and they were
I mean,
over.
like on that point, it's like used to be great customer service. Now it's just a lot of labor shortage. Not a lot of young people
Yeah,
wants to deal with the repetitive phone calls. Not a lot of them wants to be standing in the front desk dealing with admin stuff, right? And we're seeing labor costs rising and rising. A lot of hotels use overseas call centers that knows nothing about the recommendations or the
yeah,
whole nearby activities or the destination itself. So that's where we're seeing really like customer service quality drops. The wait time, and also even I was on Uber Eats one time and the driver like canceled after having my order 16 minutes after. Right, I was trying to get to a human, but it took me a while,
yeah,
and where AI is really shining in some areas and a lot of other areas that if you don't have a great product, if you don't have the great design in terms of, hey, what can AI solve, how we can solve it in the most natural and time efficient way versus, still have to get to human and you still have to wait like 3 to 4 minutes to get there. Right. So, a lot of our competitors in the space, it's the same. They can handle like very limited use cases, and it's not as natural. People
mhm,
are frustrated and ask for a human right away, and you're not really solving the fundamental problem.
yeah, it's true. And so my last question on this topic, and then I'll switch gears a little bit, but why focus on hospitality? Do you see a future for your product in all customer service spaces?
Yeah, I think for us, it's really a passion and an understanding of the space itself, and really helping with either the owners and the operators to help serving the guests itself, right? Like not a lot of other industry have this kind of luxury experiences, experiential products, right? If you think about other services like, voice AI is in a lot of different verticals, for example, like home services, right? When you call home services to get something, to get, I don't know, HVAC or plumbing and stuff like that, right? It's a necessity.
Mhm.
And for us, we're really selling that experience. They can go to 5 other hotels in the area. Why do they choose us? Why do they choose that particular hotel? It's a lot of training on specific data, knowing what the problems we're solving, and also integrating with all the softwares. The more data we have, the better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
makes sense.
yeah, sticking in the hospitality space is really our bread and butter in terms of just focus.
Yeah. I think that's smart. A lot of people, will have a good idea and then try and scale it too quickly or try and put it in too many different verticals, and then you kind of lose a bit of the magic there. So that makes sense. So I want to talk a little bit now about just life as a founder. So
Yeah.
you founded your company with two other co-founders. Um, tell me, how do you divide and conquer with all of the responsibilities that come with running a company?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we do a lot of founder-led sales. I think that's really in the age of AI, like really a technical ability to build things. Very important still, but you can see people building a MVP or like a product that can be used like within a couple days. And for
Mm-hmm.
us, it's really about my CTO does a lot of those integrations and also building out some of the features and making sure they actually work and that can
Mm-hmm.
actually scale. And my co-founder, who worked with Miras and Disney before, talked to a lot of customers and making sure our operations are run right. For example, organizing happy hours, events at the conferences, or even in SF in person. And my job is kind of to oversee everything, but also participate in a lot of those sales conversations. I'm almost in all of the sales conversation, right? And you're seeing this team being so small and nimble that everybody just do something about it. And for being a CEO, your only job is to sell. If you think about selling to customers, selling to investors, selling yourself to a talent that you might hire, right? So being good at that is, as a founder, it's very, very important, whether you're in technical or not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely would second that message that if something needs doing, it's probably your job if you've noticed it first.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of where you learn a lot of things. The last 2 years, we've learned so much. I don't think I can do it from MBA or a regular 9 to 5 job in general. Really, you're taking responsibility on every decision you make, and
Mhm.
that's sometimes the hardest thing. But you kind of have to face it because you're creating a thing 0 to 1. And for that to happen, it's very, very hard. And you have to go through many, many iterations and learning a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, the resilience and grit factor goes up considerably, I guess, the longer you stay in the game.
Yeah, and
So
you have to be like delusionally optimistic, right? Like to think about this game in general and really having unbound optimism. And that's why you have co-founders where if one of you is down, one of us is down, like other people will pick you up, right? Like the morale is always there, the optimism is always there. But yeah.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's definitely been one or two meltdowns over the last year that Erin's kind of scraped me off the floor for. So I definitely second that too. Okay, so let's think about our audience, other founders or potential founders that are thinking about starting their own business. What is one practical tip you could give them for scaling an early stage startup?
I would say just like don't skip the manual processes. Really talk to your customers, talk to as many people as possible, and do
Mhm.
small manual processes in the beginning to make sure that you understand the product in depth instead of just using AI for everything. I think it's a little counterintuitive, but we use AI for all the coding now, for a lot of the product development. But it really came from the experience of us going on the ground and creating customer solutions and talking to them for hours and hours, right? And interacting with all the guests. So that's why I would say like don't skip. There's no shortcuts to anything. So
Yeah, that's true. And so where can people find you and learn more about you and with Q?
yeah, you can go to withq.ai, and so that's our website, and I really describe kind of our vision and our product offering. There's a couple case studies, and there are hotels live on our website. You can obviously call it, and try to mess with it. A lot of people find it's kind of fun to just do that and see what AI can do, right? You see like McDonald's or like I think Chipotle's AI app doing calculus for you and stuff like that, right?
Oh,
We
that's
yeah, yeah, and we won't do that for you. We can do like a slightly fine unless you declare it's an emergency or something like that, right?
a
Uh,
calculus emergency. Oh no,
yeah,
it's gonna be
yeah.
crazy.
Someone held a gun to your face, and they're like, "What is this equation?" So Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like people love messing with AI, and so we tell our investors and other clients to feel free to just call our AI, and if they do have feedback, let us know, right? And it's not 100% accurate. It probably never will be, but
Mm,
we do the best we can to prevent the errors from happening.
yeah, that makes sense. It was so great chatting with you, Jonathan, and hearing about updates to the business. It sounds like things are going great.
They're okay. Every day we have challenges, and
Spoken like a true founder. Like you've got some success. They're good. They're okay. Like I'm not jumping off a bridge this week. They're fine.
yeah. I think fires. The fires are kind of small recently. There's not that many, and fingers crossed. But honestly, sometimes like more fires you have to fight, the more you learn, and
So
that's
true.
how you do it. So
Yeah, so true. That's great. Thank you so much.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Jonathan. Good to chat.
Good to chat, and thank you for your time and thoughtful questions.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
All right, you all stop.
Are we good to go?